Welcome. Getting there, folks. We're seeing if we can. All right. Well, I'm going to go ahead and start riffing a little bit. I've got some tea, I've got some water. I've almost got the neuro spicy drink trifecta here. And yeah, some time to touch base. It is evening here, which has been my set aside time to write. I've really appreciated having the consistency so far for my own sake through 75 Bard. I have added some more posts up over on Intent Agility with Bex and started kind of following what's on my mind, a little bit of my journey, a little bit, frankly, navigating the chaos that has been the world lately, which is such an understatement. I know a lot of people are probably having some challenges creating right now. I know that I'm one of them. And so having something that I can almost use as a grounding practice to get back into my flow of creativity has been incredibly valuable for me to refuel, to remember that life and the world around us is more than the constant headlines and barrage, but is also living this life as well. And that's not bypassing anything whatsoever. For me, it's refueling, it's figuring out how to pour back into myself and move things forward when so much can feel like it's moving backwards or in chaotic, all different directions. So I don't know if anybody's had that similar experience, especially over the last couple of weeks. If you have and you feel called to share in the chat, please feel free to do that. Right now, we're just grabbing some time to casually chat, check in on how 75 Bard is going, and yeah, spend some time connecting. So if anybody has joined us that, hey Sarah, if anybody has joined us that has no clue what this 75 Bard thing is, the very short version is one, no, it is not 75 hard. It is not a typo, I promise. And it's really an opportunity for us to create with consistency and build community at the same time. So the premise is creating whatever that creativity looks like for you for 75 consecutive days. And we've got some guides that we're following. We tend to our care foundations, which is super important right now in particular. It's important all the time, but it feels like in the chaos, it's just a great thing to anchor back to. We are doing one creative session and one curation session each day. We are sharing things about our creations and our creativity in community. We are finding and consuming things like media, books, podcasts, write ups that will inspire us or help us learn and grow. And then we're doing at least one thing for our future self to support our future self. That's it in a nutshell. If you'd like to find more details about the 75 Bard structure, I would encourage you to wander on over to the Intent Agility with Bex publication here on Substack and look for the 75 Bard tag. There's actually a little menu spot at the very top of the publication where you can very easily find that tag and then find everything up to this point that's been tagged under it. So that's a cheat sheet. Um, but yeah, so just talking a little bit about one Creativity as a replenishment option, as something that refuels us, as something that maybe helps ground or stabilize us in these chaotic times. So, if you've got anything that you'd like to share about that in particular, please feel free to do so. Um, the other thing that I was on my mind a lot lately, and particularly today, I just finished a post about it, is perfectionism and how perfectionism blocks so many things, including creativity, but also productivity, forward momentum, even integrity. And part of thinking about this is also, my own call out to myself. Perfectionism can be such an easy coping mechanism to fall back into when our self trust drops. Something that I talked about in the post is, show me pretty much anyone that falls back on perfectionism as their coping mechanism, and you will be seeing someone that lacks self trust. And that's not a judgment whatsoever. It is an opportunity to figure out where that gap, that perceived gap, that wound is coming from, and I'm not a therapist, much less you're a therapist, just to be really clear. So not a like live therapy session whatsoever. Although it might be something that you want to unpack with your therapist if you have one, or get a therapist and unpack it if you don't have one, and you'd like to go down that path. Um, but I was just thinking about all the times, including recently, that I'm trying to get like the words perfect and the idea perfect and convey it perfectly, and then suddenly, before I know it, hours have gone by. I've deleted and retyped things over and over and over again, right? And nothing's gotten done, nothing's moved forward. I don't feel more creative, I feel less creative. I don't trust my craft more, I trust it less. And I'm better now than I used to be at catching myself in that cycle of perfectionism. I'm way better than I used to be being able to go, "Oh, wait a minute. I know what's happening here. I know what gremlin is showing up in my brain and trying to kind of torpedo everything. All right. Well, I'm not going to be able to move anything forward. And I'm certainly not going to be able to create stuff and learn as I do that if I'm just like stuck in this spin cycle of what if I'm not doing it right? What if I'm not approaching it the right way? What if I'm not saying it the right way? And that's just creativity, right? So if we're looking out in the world and say trying to figure out how to help move the world around us forward toward the future that we want, we're not going to get there through perfectionism. Perfectionism is just going to keep us stuck in inaction, trying to pick a thing to do and pick a lane and pick a contribution rather than being willing to have progress imperfectly and then learn from our mistakes and learn about, where we have opportunities to grow and then applying those learnings. Um, so that's just my riffing. I don't know if anybody's got anything in particular they would like to share or ask questions about in the chat. I'm going to take a moment and sip my tea and sip my water and let there be a moment of pause for that. All right. Well, moving right along then, and of course, if you think of something, feel free to put it in the chat. Um, we're like half a month through 75 Bard, which is pretty cool. Um, I know, so I know a couple people personally and directly in my life that are rolling through this thing that don't tend to frequent Substack, who are chugging right along with working on novels and creative projects and music and sketching and just all kinds of different directions, which is amazing. Um, and I know of at least a couple people I think that have actually opted to, even though it's very much not required to do so, have opted to just like hit the reset button and start over with it. They felt, maybe a little bit scattered or like, the very beginning that I chose, uh, quasi arbitrarily to start January 2nd what just wasn't the right time to start for them, and so they're doing that at their own pace. So, also, if you happen to be hopping on right now or you watch the playback later, if you haven't started 75 Bard, it's too late to do that. The premise is still gonna be the same. The cool thing about starting a little bit later is you'll get to, see some stuff that people are posting and people are doing. Maybe that's gonna give you some inspiration as well. So yeah, you don't have to be at the exact same pace as everybody else or start at the same time. You can hop on in at any time you want. Yeah. Right on, Sarah. Appreciate that. Yeah, there's absolutely no need to like have to be here and interact. Um, I know like some of my creating is gonna be talking into the void. Maybe it's not screaming all the time, but maybe it's a little bit of a chat into the void sometimes. But, um, but yeah, it is nice to know that there's still a community here and that it's not actually the void. It's just, sometimes we're doing things hanging out in parallel together and, for the neurospicy humans or people that just find benefit from it, sort of a little bit of body doubling or parallel play of being able to work on the creative things while somebody else is chatting about the creative things while somebody else near you is doing the creative things. I mean, we've got like whole live streams on all kinds of platforms that offer that up. Um, Hey, maybe that's something for us to do, at some point, maybe on an afternoon or something, is just spin up a live and have it as a co-working session. So, if that's something that people want, by all means, please let me know. Also, if you are catching this and you're not a subscriber yet, if you subscribe, you will have access to the ongoing chat, which includes all kinds of links and community and ideas and shares in there. And that's also a great way to give some feedback if there's something in particular that you would like to see more of. So yeah, wander on over, subscribe to Intent Agility with Bex if you want way more information in real time on 75 Bard or other areas that I publish and to hop into some of the community that we're looking to create around creativity. It's probably a good way to put it. All right. So I guess I will be a little extra vulnerable and share some of what the last 14 days have been like for me. And that is finding out that my creation and curation sessions have been happening super close to when I probably should be sleeping. And I don't have it's not like I have great excuses right now. Like I don't even have a house plant that I'm taking care of currently. And so it's literally me, myself, and I and my own schedule. So I guess I want folks to know that regardless of how busy you are with other things, one, it is still definitely possible. And two, your schedule does not have to look like get up at 5 a.m. and for the first several hours of your day, you are dedicated to sitting down in front of your easel or in front of your desk or with your, musical instrument and putting in 3+ hours of creative time. Like that's for most of us, that is not feasible. Most of us are like, all right, I gotta make sure that I hydrate, eat, and sleep today. What else I got? Okay, I've gotta probably, in our society, make some monies to get the foods and the shelter and the whatnot. And maybe you've got littles to take care of or pets to take care of. And so you've got to make sure that the life forms that are dependent on you to keep living have everything that they need to be, growing and thriving and hopefully, living their best life. And So yeah, like where the heck do we find the time? We find it in, those quiet moments when maybe the world has finally settled for the day and that's when it's happening. And that's okay. It could be my lunch hour is half making sure I eat and like breathe and take a pause, and the other half is when my creativity happens because that's when I'm able to do it. Yeah, Sarah, exactly. Fringe hour creatives, absolutely. And for some of us, like that's when the best ideas happen too, right? Uh, I actually know a couple of people who used to keep a diver's slate in their shower. For those that are unfamiliar, diver's slate is like it's basically like a plastic board that you can bring if you go diving, like ocean diving, underwater diving, that you can write on with a pencil, and that way, like, you can communicate underwater. Yeah, a couple people that I know kept those in their shower so that when they had the shower thoughts, they also had a way to capture the shower thoughts. I have been known to have, like, a voice memo app running because I realized I was riffing on something and I had nothing near me to capture it other than my phone, and I have definitely had some folks that probably looked at me like I was, having a very weird phone conversation because I would have like my AirPods in and talking to myself on a voice memo, navigating some kind of something that was creative that just decided to spark off in the 10-minute walk I had between meetings. And that's when I could capture it. So if you are that person who's like, I don't have the luxury of large amounts of time and an entire studio I can go to, or like a writer's retreat, that's okay. Most of us don't. Most of us do not have the disposable income, time, and energy to just carve out bukus of space and time to make the creative stuff happen, like actually get it out of our brain and out into the world. Um, but we can find a way. Um, and honestly, that's probably three-fourths of the reason that I latched on to this idea of 75 Bard that my brain served up. I was like, you know what? If nothing else, it's a great way for me to be accountable and actually commit to my creative endeavors and make it happen. And certainly hoping that community joins me along the way and that we find each other and boost each other and do the damn thing together. And at the end of the day, it is still of benefit, even if it's just me or a few of us, having the opportunity to say, you know what, I'm going to make it happen. I'm going to set aside the time, whether it's 5 minutes, 50 minutes, hours, like whatever you got to work with, which could be totally different day by day too. And just find the thing that you want to move forward in your creativity and making it happen. So I guess that's part vulnerability, part pep talk for you this evening. Giving a little space in case anybody would like to share in chat. Hopping over to the feeds to see if anybody has posted any points of curiosity. All right, folks. Well, I'm going to keep this a short one tonight then. Um, Partly because, fitting all the things in when we can, right? So I'm going to leave you with some words of encouragement. So if you're already on and watching, or you're watching the playback, first, a reminder that it's difficult, if not impossible, to create when you are depleted. So whether you're doing this 75 bard thing or not, uh, figure out what your care foundations are, what you need to be functional, not the stuff you think you should be doing or you think you should want to be doing, but the things that you know that you need to be a functioning human in the world. And that world could be your apartment It could be your house, it could be your neighborhood, it could be way out in the world. So find those things. For me, that's hydrate, eat, move, sleep. Those are the main ones. Most other things are add-ons beyond that. Probably brushing my teeth every morning is non-negotiable for me. Um, but yours might look different, right? I mean, most of us need to hydrate, eat, move in some way, and sleep and breathe. But other than that, what do you need? And then make sure that even if you are caring for a lot of things and people and ideas and commitments right now, make sure that you're taking good care of yourself. Um, and that doesn't have to be because it's some elaborate rhythm and ritual that you've created. Just get back to the basics. Make sure that you're pouring back into yourself. And the other piece is the world is serious, and there's lots of things that we could be doing to seriously move our way forward in lots of ways, right? So, even just personally, there might be some things that you need to handle, or some serious experiences or events happening in your life, or just some things that you want to seriously work on. My encouragement is to try to not take yourself too seriously in the process. Um, we need humor and joy and messiness and imperfection because that's also how we get to create, it's how we get to build community, and it's how we get to move forward. So take good care of yourself. Be kind to yourself, be kind to the people around you. And yeah, don't take yourself too seriously, even if you got serious stuff to get done. All right, folks, make it a great evening, morning, afternoon, day, week, whenever you're watching this. And we'll see you next time.